Good evening and welcome to your last stop on the open house tour. We are going to give you the senior class visit parent edition. My name is Dr. Keller and I will be your host for the evening. So without further ado, let us get into this. All right, if you haven't met your student's counselor, we break the alphabet up by last name. Miss Solid takes the beginning part of the alphabet, last names A through D, followed by Miss Loyacona, Miss Kalman, Miss Garney, Miss Abramowitz, and I, Dr. Keller, am the Career and College Advisor. For graduation requirements, there are 24 credits required, one virtual class. Passing the 10th grade FSA, your student is required to pass Algebra 1 EOC, have a 2.0 GPA by the time graduation, 20 hours of community service. A breakdown of those 24 credits, they will need 4 in English, 4 credits in math, including Algebra 1 and Geometry, 3 in Science, which include Biology, 3 Social Studies, 1 physical education credit, otherwise known as HOPE, 1 performing or fine art credit, 8 elective credits. One of these 24 must be a virtual class. And just to give a little insight, 1 credit is the equivalent to 1 school year. So for instance, English has 4 credits. That would mean that a student would have successfully been enrolled and completed 4 years of English. Okay, as mentioned earlier, they will need a 2.0 by the time graduation rolls around. Competitive universities, on the other hand, will require a much higher GPA, many times over a 3.5, and also take into consideration that universities will recalculate your weighted GPA. Okay, the admissions criteria, now that we're speaking about college, the academic achievements are what drive the process. They are going to a school of higher education, so these universities are looking at the transcript. They are looking for challenging courses, they're looking for test scores, and they're identifying the student's GPA and HPA. Additionally, there are essays that include the personal essay and supplemental essays that will be school specific. As far as test scores are concerned, the state public universities in Florida will require test scores, either SAT or ACT scores. Private or out-of-state schools may have elected the test optional route. In that case, your student may opt to submit or not to submit their test scores. They should do a little research and know what scores look favorable for the university and then choose accordingly. Also, with the public state schools in Florida, they do not require teacher recommendations. However, they will require a school counselor recommendation. And for that, we just ask that a student speak with us and request said recommendation at least 3 weeks prior to when they need it. That gives us ample time to develop a worthwhile letter of recommendation for your student. If they are applying to a private or out-of-state school, they will need teacher recommendations, and we request the same respect given to teachers in regards to time frame. Another piece that rounds out the application is going to be the activities section. The activities section allows a student to list accomplishments that they have that are outside of the classroom. Those can include leadership, extracurricular accomplishments, the academy, anything that highlights what the student does outside of their school day or outside of the classroom. This could include hobbies, community service efforts, work responsibilities, any special talents that they may have. They may be very much musically inclined or something of that nature. Please, this is your chance to brag. Take full advantage. So, college entrance exams. I spoke about this ever so briefly just a moment ago. The SAT or ACT are the 2 college entrance exams. The SAT has upcoming dates of October 2nd, November 6th, and December 4th, while the ACT has September 11, October 23, December 11. Students want to get into these dates early if they are not happy with their current scores or they just want to improve them to look in a more favorable light. Okay, so now how do you develop a college list? Well, we suggest that you have a list including 5 to 7 schools with a combination of safe, match, and reach schools. So match are schools that you pretty much match the published criteria of criteria being GPA, HPA, SAT or ACT scores. Safe schools would be schools that you exceed their numbers, and then reach schools would be those schools that you don't quite reach their numbers, but you want to try anyway. You are in within close enough proximity or what you believe is close proximity. And hey, you never know if you don't try. Okay, so speaking of admissions numbers, these were the marks from last year's incoming class. So as you look at the University of Florida, you're going to see a 3.88 unweighted GPA, a 4.49 weighted GPA on a recalculated 5.0 scale. You're going to see SAT scores that range from a 1310 to a 1450 and an ACT from a 29 to a 33. With the ranges, please understand that that is the 25th to the 75th percentile. There's still 25% of the students that were below those numbers and 25% that were above. And this is really just a range. So students know approximately where they stand in regards to what was taken last year. This doesn't mean that your student will or will not get in depending on their numbers. It just gives them a little bit more information. And we do have a range here with all 12 of the schools. You can look at some schools that have a sub 4.0 weighted GPA requirement, and while others are well above. Same thing with the SAT scores. There's a lot of variability here, so there is a place for everyone. 2-year schools. 2-year schools are a wonderful option in the state because we have the 2+2 program. What that means is that if you complete your associate's degree at any of the 2-year institutions in the state, such as Palm Beach State College, Broward College, Miami-Dade, TCC, Santa Fe, Valencia, etc., that you are automatically guaranteed to finish your final 2 years in a Florida State public university, including the University of Florida, Florida State, UCF, and the 9 others. And please note that 51% of all bachelor's degrees conferred in the state, the students had started at a 2-year school. So for the universities, there are 2 popular application options: regular decision and early decision. Regular decision, the students just apply by a standard deadline. As they apply, they hear back. At that point, they get to make a decision based on all the yeses that they received to where they want to go. And, the decision is up to them. Regarding that, UF and Florida State are the only schools that have hard deadlines as far as the public state schools. All the others are going to be rolling admissions. That means that they are going to evaluate your transcript as soon as they get it. So oftentimes with rolling admissions universities, you will apply, and within a couple of weeks later, you will have your the decision of the university, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that it's a yes. So with rolling admissions, it's always wonderful because you don't have to wait as long. When UF and Florida State, they are going to send out bulk responses. So all of the responses are released on one day, and so everybody knows at the same time. Okay, early decision. Early decision, not to be confused with early action. Early decision, otherwise known as ED, is due on November 1, and that is a binding decision. So you need to take into consideration what is required of the school, how much it costs to get in, because it's legally binding. Once you say that you're going there and apply with that application option, that you are committed to the school. So you must go if they say yes. Early action, on the other hand, is you're showing early interest. The application dates are usually early, right around November 1st as well, but they are non-binding. And so you can early, early action to as many schools as you like. You have to submit your application early, so you normally hear back early as well. Okay, so all of these applications are going to require a transcript. You can request a transcript on the Spanish River website under the Students and Parents tab, followed by the little transcript tab once you're on the Students and Parents page. You will have to pay for the transcripts. They're $3 a piece unless you need them mailed, and at that point the price goes up to $5 each. If you're applying to schools just via the Common App, you will need one transcript for your Common App, regardless of how many schools that you are applying to. You just need one transcript for the Common App. It is also recommended that you order one unofficial for yourself, just so that you have a copy. So when you need to fill out the SSAR, if you're applying to FAU, Florida State, UF, or FGCU, that you have one handy. If you're an athlete, you will need to apply through the NCAA Clearinghouse or play NAIA. If you need transcripts from that, just reach out to me, Dr. Keller, and I will take care of that. All right, scholarships. There are two types of popular scholarships: merit-based and need-based, which are typically federally funded. On Twitter and Facebook, we update those all the time with scholarship bulletins. As we get the information, we like to disseminate it as quickly as possible. Okay, so our most popular merit-based scholarship in the state of Florida is Bright Futures. There's two levels: the Florida Academic Scholars and the Florida Medallion Scholars. Approximately 100% of tuition is covered with the Florida Academic Scholars. The requirements are a 3.5 weighted GPA in just the core classes: English, Math, Science, Social Studies, your highest 2 years of foreign language, and your two strongest electives: a 1330 SAT or a 29 ACT, 100 community service hours, and a 2 years of the same foreign language. Keep in mind that you have all school year to acquire these. Please apply starting October 1st, whether you have the requirements or not, because the decision is not made until the school year is over. So you have plenty of time to acquire these criteria. And the Florida Medallion Scholars pays for approximately 75% of tuition, 3.0 weighted GPA in core classes, SAT 1210 or 25 ACT, 75 community service hours, and 2 years of the same foreign language. All right, FAFSA, same time, October 1st. So you can knock out Bright Futures application and FAFSA all at one time on October 1st. Everyone should complete this application. It is need-based, but you never know if you qualify unless you apply. It can never hurt you. It can only help you. So we always recommend that everybody apply. All right, senior announcements. Like I was telling you earlier, follow us on Twitter and Facebook. We post all the time, try to keep you in the loop of what's going on and where the money's at and what colleges are doing, the movers and shakers. All right, so just join us at Twitter and on Facebook. All right, and one last warning before we go. Admissions directors warn that senioritis, it's a real thing, and it may be hazardous to your students' educational health. We want the students to display the academic prowess that they have the entire time before they applied. So 9 through 11, they've established themselves as a particular type of student, and we want to make sure that they continue to do so. We want them to continue to look favorable in the eyes of the colleges, and we do not want any offers rescinded. So on that positive note, I wish you all a very pleasant evening, and we shall talk soon. Dr. Keller out.